So, thank you guys for making yourselves available for this meeting. It was basically just putting a bit of a background. It's more of a progress on how much, how far we've gone on the road safety audits, with other things that we're supposed to do with our PRNG grant. And obviously that involves other stakeholders, but we felt that maybe it would be nice if we present the wonderful work that we've done on the road safety audits, since we can't really go on site and see the process of the audit itself. But I mean, the site would have been, the site visits would have been to actually do a site visit on an intervention if we're implementing on an intervention. But I think we haven't done anything with regards to that. So we're only going to start implementing next year if it's one of those quick ones, and then where it involves design, to be the following year or the other year. We're very slow in the department at the moment. So we felt, it would be best we come and we sort of present what we've done as a road safety audit. So a bit of a background again is that we were required to spend around about 3.5% of the grant for KZN in doing road safety audits, and then we do conduct the audits, and then after that take the balance of the 3.5% to actually do the implementation of the proposed interventions. There was one. And then the second portion is that we were given, I'll say, it was an incentive on actually doing some work or on what we call the strategic network. Strategic network, which was an exercise that we did in the previous year, where we identified a strategic network, and then we're given money to say, okay, go do certain activities on those to improve the condition, the safety, and everything on a strategic network. So basically, the whole meeting is actually for that, to actually see progress on both road safety audits and to see what have you done on the strategic network and everything else. Yeah. So that is a bit of my background of this meeting. But I think because of the attendance, I think predominantly we're going to talk a lot on the road safety audits. And then the site visits that we're going to do with the team from National is going to be basically the work that we are doing on the road strategic network. So that's how we're going to separate the two. I think it's best we go around introducing ourselves. I know the team, but Umhlanga from National DOT, who's looking after this sort of project, so that he's familiar with everyone. So like I said, I'm Style of Mandala, and then
Morning once again, colleagues. My name is Gurula Obezi. There are some faces that I know, but the others not. I've met some of the new faces like her, but the rest of the team, I know it because we met on the road.
Morning, colleagues. I'm glad to hear from RHDHV.
Morning, colleagues. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Dennis Onwemu,
Good morning, colleagues. I am Dani Kusilisi from Transport KZN.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Kaya Janase from the Community Consulting Experience.
Colleagues, from RHDHV.
Morning, colleagues. I'm Leon Brooks from RHDHV.
Morning, colleagues. I'm Leon Breel from RHDHV and the link back to the Siambasonki project. Morning, everyone. Sorry. This occasion must be having some very good Zulu water this morning. I'm Dabulo Ntlego, presenting Estongan PPH engineer.
Morning all, I'm Rian Stienka from Rueni PTI.
Morning, Theodore from RHDHV. What? Oh, I didn't hear those. I don't know. I am good level and then I have experience. Okay, thank you guys. Once again, apologies for me being late. Yes, I'm taking leave on Wednesday, so trying to sort of sort things out. Like now in the morning, it's a bit of a hassle, so I'd like to apologize for that. We have decided we're gonna start at 10 or 10:30. Yeah, it's all 10.
Sorry,
But it's
Chief,
cool.
we wanted to just have a little bit of time to mingle and give you some nice snacks to eat as well. So we thought we'll just feed you before we engage you.
Or you knew I was going to be late.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, can I also just say we do have apologies from Mbile Granti from Aging Traffic and Engineers. He was unfortunately engaged in a previous commitment, so he's unable to attend, but he does extend his apologies.
Did you tell him that I'm actually paying you guys now?
He says,
I'm
please,
sure you'll tell
please
that.
still pay us, but he's very sorry he couldn't make it.
No, thanks. Any other apologies?
Thank you, Chair. The two apologies from National Defense Fuchane. He was supposed to join us a little bit later, but apparently now they're still waiting for a minister to be briefed up in Victoria. And then Rondo's another crane. She was sent to Margate in some other sort of safety matters down the side.
No, thank you. Thank you, guys. So I think I've touched on the purpose of the meeting, that it's going to be, we're going to touch on the wonderful work that's been done on the road safety appraisals, and we're going to touch a little bit on the work that we've done on the strategic network, if we put it like that. And then I think most of the plans for 1819 that we're going to talk of is going to be basically the interventions that actually came from the appraisals that were done this financial year. Although the plan, it's sort of, it breaks my heart, the plan, but I think we still have an opportunity to sort it out. As I said, portfolio manager, maybe there's a bit of power. What's going to happen is that the strategy that the department wants to take is to actually allow the appointments of each area office, or the support to the area office, to actually do the appraisals from 1819 going forward. But my biggest concern is still the coordination, the planning, and actually the verifying that the audits were done right by the right people. I don't think we have the capacity in the department to do that, and I feel there's still a need for like a team like this to actually look at it at a high level. And while the other guys, area officers, are still sort of doing the actual appraisals, if I can put it like that. So we still need to sort of push that forward and see and do a submission, motivate, and see if that could be allowed, so that we maintain this. Because this is required for uniformity, if we can put it like that. Yeah. So yeah. I think looking at the agenda, we were following the agenda that you sent, you put together. So some of the stuff, I think it won't be, we won't follow it like step by step, but I think what we can do is start with the road safety appraisal. Talk about that project, from when we started inception to where we are right now. And I must say that Chief, we've gone this far and we haven't really moved on the financial side, but we're hoping that because the invoice has been submitted, we're hoping that could be sorted out in the next 2 weeks, so that is ticked off as an expenditure on the conducting of the audits side. But then we'll have to decide on what do we do on the money that was set out for the implementation side of things, because we haven't started those. But in terms of financially, I think we will be sorted on the conducting of the audits. Yeah. So I think if we're looking at 1.3, are we happy that we can adopt this agenda, as is? I'm not sure about the time frames, but I think this gives us time to actually just go through everything thoroughly, because you set yourself 2 days, to actually do some site visits. We can do some today, and we can do more sites even tomorrow. But I think it'd be nice to spend a bit of time to take you through what we've done on the road safety appraisal side of things. So, would you be happy if we sort of adopt this agenda?
From my side.
Yeah, from your side.
Oh, I drafted it, so I adopted it.
No, maybe you won't like the color. It's like,
oh, because of the section.
Okay, this paper is too
I don't
expensive. Okay. No, it's fine. I think, Minion, I think you can you please take us through sort of what was the plan today in terms of going through what's been done, in terms of progress and everything, and I see there's a presentation. So I'll leave it to the team to take us through the road safety audit side of things, and then we'll get up afterwards. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just firstly, if I can just start quickly with a safety share just before we commence with the meeting. Obviously on the safety side, if in the event of an emergency, should there be an emergency, hopefully there won't be any, the exit doors have been clearly marked out. So if you can please all just in an orderly fashion calmly make your way out of the building. Exit fire escapes have also been indicated out in the passageway. Please just make sure that you don't use the elevators, the lifts in case of an emergency, and then we'll all convene downstairs in the parking lot. But everything will be fully demarcated. We do have fire marshals and first aid officers in the office that will also show you where to go. Bathrooms, just for housekeeping, the gents are outside. Sorry, my right and left is now thing. Right. That's to the right, and then ladies is to your left. So the door is open on that side, so please just excuse yourself if you need to make your way there. Great. So then, if we can start, before I start with the presentation, Mr. Chair, as you mentioned, there is a presentation. The presentation is more aimed at covering the agenda items, so a lot of the agenda items will be discussed and covered in the presentation. As well as Sipelo mentioned, the intention for 2018-19, should the project team continue, we'll discuss a little bit about the intention and strategy of what we will propose going forward. Maybe if we can just get started on that then. I know I did introduce myself. I'm the lucky lady that gets to work with all the lovely gentlemen around the table and keep them in check. But as a matter of introduction, I was the project manager from RHDHV side, supported very heavily by my assistant project manager in Bonisi. And our role was really just to coordinate the project team to make sure that everything ran smoothly. We did quite a short duration time frame to do the designated appraisals, but I think to date the team has done fantastically well, and We're very excited to have the opportunity to present here to you today and just show you what we have done, as well as the new innovative solutions and ideas and innovations that we implemented throughout the project to make the project run a little bit smoothly and also enhance the value add provided to the department. Presentation outline, briefly, we're just going to go through our project organizational structure, then leading into our implementation strategy, how we went about doing our planning, our coordination, right through the rollout of the actual appraisals, the network that we covered. And then the exciting part of the presentation, we would really like to introduce and explain to you the innovative solutions that we used. We feel that this is really like a groundbreaking thing that we implemented specifically on this project, but it also touches on other areas like the RAMs or asset management, things that we could use not only the information but also the solutions to roll it out through the department. Talking a little bit about our social indicators, obviously just from the project side, but there's also the social indicators that we envision will come out of the interventions, and then just a brief overview of our financial breakdown and a little bit on the strategy going forward for the next financial year. It's a little bit small there, but this is an overview of our project organizational structure. The real intention behind this setup of this was to create a seamless integration of 4 very different, separate, unique entities. And I must say, I feel that we've done that very well, is bringing these 4 entities together, integrating them into one high-performance team, which delivered fantastically on this road safety appraisal and worked really well together as one coordinated unit. The top part of your structure was really just there for the coordination, the planning, the support, and the technical direction guiding our project delivery. So you've got individuals such as Derek and Rob Barker, as well as Theo LaRue, who's here today, who guided the technical strategy of the road safety appraisals, and as well as them being responsible for the quality control and the review of the report. Now the important thing there is that we didn't have one entity being both a role player and a reviewer, so we can guarantee our quality control and our QC process in that to make sure that we provide a quality service to our department. Underneath, we've got our data connection teams. This is where our very important JV partners came in. They were really the hands of this project, delivering, doing the bulk of it, the actual appraisals, going out into the field, collecting the data, and then feeding it back up into the structure for that review process before it was delivered to our client. Really importantly is we also had a data management component. So, and that's Eugene is here today. We also had Britt, who was involved with our GIS to make sure that all of our data was spatially integrated, so it's not stagnant data, it was live data that we spatially referenced and then uploaded it into our web-based systems that we'll talk about today. Our project implementation strategy, here we really looked at more of a cyclical approach. We didn't want our intervention, our RSA approach to just be a stagnant once-off approach. So we looked at first step, our project planning and identification of the road sections, how we went about identifying that, looking at our accident statistics as well as the 20 hotspots that was provided to us by the department, focusing on the strategic network and then also engaging the various regions. Step 2 was obviously then to do our data collection, going out into the field, collecting the data, doing the road safety appraisals, following which we went through a data analysis and reporting procedure, coupled with obviously the quality control process. From there, we were able to extract the interventions, and these were the items that were identified out in the field. This allowed us to prioritize the intervention. So it's no longer just a whole list of interventions, but you can prioritize it so that you know where the department should be focusing their efforts. The real important thing about this is, as government entities, we know we have a limited amount of resources, and we need to make sure that we allocate those resources in the most efficient way to create the most impact in terms of our service delivery. And the prioritization of our intervention is the mechanism in which we do that. And then obviously, step 6 is the implementation of the interventions, which is where we will be focusing on during our next phase come 2018-19. This is all coupled with the DOT strategic objectives. So we really wanted to look at road safety appraisals, how it fits into the department's objectives, to make sure it's not just a standalone approach that provides reports that sits on the shelf and adds no value. There's a quite significant amount of budget that went into this. We know it's a PRMG requirement, but we didn't want it to just be a tick box exercise. We wanted the appraisals to actually go into interventions that address critical road safety issues, and then we can then create a cyclical loop which year on year on year, you can just take this blueprint, execute it in the same manner, and make sure that we're actually addressing our road safety concerns in a prioritized and organized fashion. Obviously, that leads to our physical efficiency and proactive maintenance. It's really focusing on being proactive versus just reactive, you know. In terms of our ACP, when we're doing our budget planning, often, you know, as an entity, we work very closely with the different regions, and we've been hands-on involved with them putting together their APPs, and we know sometimes the budget allocation is not always addressing your most critical needs. So this is allowing that proactive step. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, can you just explain for me between step 3 and step 4?
Between step 3 and step 4?
Yeah, what's happening to you on step 3 and step 4?
So I will actually show this to you in a little bit more detail later, but let me quickly explain. This is where when I was chatting to you outside, your report. You get a report. It's quite a thick report. And it gives you a bit of the background of the appraisal, where it was done, the team, all of the logistics behind it, your legislative requirements, all of those things. And it's quite a big narrative document. But the crux of that report is really, what did you identify in the field? What was your primary road safety concerns? What do we need to do to bring our roads up to the desired service delivery requirement to ensure the provision of a safe road environment for all our users? And that's where our intervention database comes in. So as a team, we didn't just want to do the tick box thing and say, here's Pillow, here's your 210 reports, thank you, we've done our job, thank you for paying us. But we wanted to go the extra mile and make sure that we provide that value-added service, extract the interventions, help you to categorize them, to align it to your programs, sub-programs, activities and objectives, so that you can very easily go back to your regions and say, okay, we've got black hole patching that needs to be done in this region, you have an annual contract, let's couple it to that annual contract, let's implement it, and let's tick it off the list. The only way you can do that is if you actually extract all of your interventions, put them into a consolidated database that's now on a web-based platform, so anybody can see it. It creates transparency, but also a mechanism for you to monitor and evaluate your interventions. Does that?
Just to indicate, step 2 and 3, that's the actual road safety audit process. In other words, the data collection is going out, driving the route, picking up all the problems, and then coming back on the analysis reporting. That's now doing your road safety audit report according to the manual. And at the end of that report, there's a intervention table with proposals on how to address those safety concerns. And those interventions is then transferred into the intervention database. So the step 2 and 3 is the actual audit, where you go physically out, you do a day and a nighttime audit, and then step 3 is the actual writing of that report and finalizing.
Yeah. Perfect. And then the idea is that the strategy was set out so that come your next financial year, you just continue with your cyclical approach, and then until eventually you've addressed your entire road network, which will probably lead you to a point where you'll actually start over again. It's not a once-off thing that we're going to do and then never look back at it again. It should be a continuous approach that we are continuously implementing. In terms of our identifications of the sections, we felt that it was very important as a team to not assume what the department's needs are. We wanted to ensure efficient engagement with our regions, so we set up regional engagement with each of the regions, invited the cost center managers, as well as the operational staff who deal with these roads on a day-to-day basis. This is where your institutional knowledge sits. They know what's going on out there. So we engaged with them to identify what the most critical areas are in terms of the road safety needs. That obviously also allowed us to get buy-in and support from them so that they could understand why we were coming and doing these road safety appraisals, getting their commitments, not just in terms of the actual appraisals, but also going forward, ensuring their commitments in terms of the implementation of the interventions. It led us to identifying the most critical what we deem hotspots, and then, as I mentioned, it allowed us to plan for the implementation of our interventions. In addition to our regional engagement, we did also look at accident statistics, so we coupled that with the accident statistics, as well as the 20 hotspots that were identified by the department. We did those 20 hotspots first, and then from the remainder of the sections, we had 210 road sections, if I'm not mistaken. Those remainder were made up from the regional engagement, as well as then the accident statistics that we obtained. And maybe just to mention on accident statistics, we actually sent individuals out to go and collect data. They obtained the accident statistics, and then we went and we reviewed those accident statistics. Our project delivery approach, we focused here on a cascading waterfall approach, meaning that we didn't have to go out and do all of the appraisals, then go back to the office, wait to do all the reports, and only at the end of the project would you get all of your reports. It was a cascading approach, so the teams would go out, they would do a group of road safety appraisals, go back to the office, produce the reports, submit the reports back to the reviewing component of the project team. We would review, deliver it back to Stelo for his approval, and then at the same time the teams were back in the field doing that, and it was continuously delivering the project like that. And that actually proved to work really well, providing a streamlined approach to our project delivery, creating optimal efficiency. Our review process was obviously focusing on quality control, so to make sure that we're not just producing the report, submitting it, but it was thoroughly reviewed by our industry experts. In terms of the network that we covered for 2017-18, we worked on 3 teams doing approximately 40 kilometers per team per week, and that equated to around about 3,000 odd kilometers, which worked out to be 10% of the road network. So we focused on doing the most 10%, the most critical areas of the strategic network, and we're actually very pleased to say that we managed to deliver that within the agreed time frame. So project team worked very well there. Now, we get to our this is what gets me excited in terms of our project. Traditionally, we know road safety appraisal, we got that long form, that audit form, and they go out, they do it hard copy, manually, fill it in and everything like that. We said we wanted to do things a little bit different, a little bit more efficiently. So we had our road safety appraisal field teams, they went out into the field, and through a mobile data collection tool, we went and collected data using a mobile app. So they could take the photographs on a mobile app, your photographs were already geolocated, so you could reference it back to a road section. You don't have to now go back and merge your photos with your hard copy data collection tool. It also eliminates human error, so no longer do we have to figure out, because my handwriting is very bad. So if I did those appraisals, people would probably not be able to see what I wrote there. But it also allowed us to track our teams, to make sure that they are in the field, that they are on top of their progress. We don't have to wait for monthly progress meetings to know what's happening. But more importantly, what for us was really the real value add from this is it gave Stelo the mechanism to go online and to check what has been done. So if he ever had a query from his superiors or his colleagues as to what's happening with the road safety appraisals, he could log on to our report, which we will be showing to you later, and he could say, there's the interventions, this is what they've identified, even before the reports were delivered. So those photographs, those interventions would be uploaded, and in real time, he would be able to have access to the information that he requires. Progress to date, would really like to take you through our report that we produced for this project. Oh gosh, sorry. I actually did no. Apologies, Jen. I think I did. It's a blonde, not really blonde.
No worries.
Ah.
I'll protect you.
Oh, thanks. Got my back, eh?
Yeah. You know, while we wait, I think it will be very apt if we actually go back to the regions again and even ask to bring their support, the new support, to actually come see the, not just give them the intervention database, and the proposed sort of implementation plan. If we take them through of what was done, for them, I think it will be more to highlight the importance of doing it right, and the whole central coordination, to be clear that, hey, this because I really doubt that what I've been fighting, I feel I've been fighting for finances for the whole project, step 1 till the end, where else against financing for step 3, yes, which is just the data collection, not the review, not the, step 2, yes, and I feel that awareness is a bit of a problem in the department, if I may put it, because I'm fighting a battle against financial people. They like, hey man, why are we doing this like this? What else? Someone says they can do this like this.
Yeah. And
then you just need to indicate to them that, what this guy is proposing to do is step 2 only.
Exactly.
But what we're saying is a project, and a project for the department with obviously future planning and everything, is looking in step 1 to step 6, which must continuously happen every year. I mean, you'll find next year you might do some audits on some sort of spots that you've done already, but just to see what improvement your intervention has done.
Now it's more of a quality control audit.
You understand? I wish in our presentation we can also highlight some points from the manual. You're supposed to do it like this. You're supposed to do this and then do an intervention and then go back and do this again. If there's such, so that it's not just throwing money.
Yeah.
And the importance of you doing an audit, doing an intervention, and then the importance of doing the intervention over and over again. That means you need to do something else. Maybe you might choose to do this type of intervention, but it's not working in that community because maybe the signs, they are taking them down or whatever. And say, okay, I think it's best the department invest in this solution because, things like that. And you can't do that if you keep on chopping and changing the team that works.
100%.
Or if you don't have the clear understanding of the whole process, And it's something that was done before internally, and I feel even with the people that used to do them internally, they feel that.
And what came out of that, though?
Before, yes, it worked because under the same sort of umbrella engineering services, it was easier. You check in here, pavement, once the audit is done.
But there was continuity.
Yes, it gets passed on to the other, changes, geometric, whatever. But now, there is no such in the department.
Fragmentation.
Yeah. It makes me think, but, I feel, change management and the buy-in is very important. More than people getting trained on how to do them, but to understand why we're doing them. Why all of a sudden we need to do audits? Why are they different to the assessments that you should do by your foreman every now and again? Why is this different, And why should you spend money. You know.
But Chair, that's a very good point you make, and that's why we as a team are here. So you need to utilize us. Let us go and be your voice, to go to the department, to advocate for this, to create that awareness. Because I think you're very right in saying that if we just keep doing these appraisals, look, as a team, we could have done that as well. We could have done our 210 appraisals, provided you with 210 reports, and that's where it would have ended. So what value would you actually have extracted from your money? And for us, I couldn't sleep well at night knowing that I just did that, because we're not actually addressing what we meant to be addressing.
Yeah, for sure. Chairperson, may I add something? Yeah. Mr. Besi, also what the chairperson alluded to now, it was not just an execution of the mandate of what's been requested. Before we even started, we took stock and we said, we need to take our expertise, because in our company we've got Theo LaRue and about 7 other qualified auditors. And the first thing we did, in the first 2 weeks, we conducted the training session. So Theo presented that training in this very same room. We trained up all the sub-consultant staff, also from the department. We trained up people. So before we even started, we conducted proper training in accordance with the industry standards, what's required. So we started off from proper training platform, and then we went out and started doing the assessments. Theo, I don't know if you want to add something about that.
Yeah, I think just on that, obviously that training wasn't exactly the same as the 5-day training course that presented by the Road Federation, but it gave them the initial background to enable them to do the audits. And those guys then subsequently went on to the 5-day course when it was presented at a later stage. But having done that initial training session and explaining to them what the focus of your audit, that enabled us to start off with that project on an early start, if you want to call it that, instead of waiting for your training to be done first and then to go out to the audits.
Yeah, perfect.
We have actually even got more internal staff that actually got trained. I think it was Jan.
It was in January.
It was
yes.
Jan.
It was at the end of Jan, 20th of Jan, they had that training.
And I missed that opportunity. But anyway, yeah. I think in our thinking going forward and our proposals and submissions, we must also take into consideration of that team that actually got trained. There was a whole lot of them. You know, I think we can get some guys that can be full time on this project. It's a lovely project. I don't want to lie. You can actually get your registration through this. You know, but it's just so I think going forward and you know, as our solution of how do we now take it forward. You know. We should get that list of guys that got trained.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, and see how we propose going forward.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the organizational structures. We've proven that we can take separate entities, bring them in together to integrate them into one team. So we've got our 4 entities. We bring in the extended arm of your departmental staff. They form another arm of your data collection component. We already have our organizational, our coordinating, our QC and reporting component, which remains critical. And then we facilitate that skills transfer and capacity building through the department by bringing them in on the data collection side. And I completely agree, we need to do that. Those individuals have been trained, let's utilize them. And that will also allow us to speed up the delivery, to do even more of the road network in any given period. So why not? I think that's brilliant. If you would allow me, Chair, I would love to take you through our I report. I know, Chair, you are familiar with it, but Mr. Besi, if you would lend me your ears. This is the I report. We'll email you a link. Beauty of this, it's web-based, so you can access it at any time, from anywhere. And this is what we've been using to really communicate the project and the progress to Taylor and his team. The I report really takes you through a lot that we've already covered in the presentation, so I'm not going to focus a lot on that. But I just want to show you that if, for instance, Mr. Bezi, you want to go back to your colleagues and explain to them what we as the Road Safety Appraisal team have done in KZN, it has everything in here, from the background to how we went and we did the project. It talks about the assessments, why we did it. It introduces our project team, very same as the presentation, but you don't need the presentation. You can just click on the link, go to the web, and it gives you everything that we have as a holistic overview. Talks about the identification, and the nice thing is, if you see the map on this side, I'm just going to sit down so I can do it better for you. The map here shows you exactly the road network that we did cover. So you can even go and you can zoom into any one area. I can click on the areas, it will give me the actual, and this is the actual roads that were assessed. It will give me the road, the location, what they did there. It even gives you the status. So this one says that the final report has been submitted. It tells me which entity did it, what region it's in, all of that. And here's the nice thing. If I click on more info, it takes me to the actual report. So I don't need to print out the reports for you. You don't need to go back to your office to find the report for a particular road because there was a big, massive bus accident on that road. And now the MEC wants to know, hang on, what are we doing in terms of that road? You can say, hang on, Mr. MEC, let's go to the road. Let me see the report. Okay. Takes you through everything that's there, your locality, the methodology, the process. And then at the end, as we mentioned, even your photographs are on here. And right in the end, it will take you through what your risk items were. And then we've classified it into the intervention measures. All graded, categorized according to the standards. Rian, I'm correct in saying it's according to your safe approach. Exactly. So it's all there, and that also then links into your intervention database, which you can now cost your interventions, we can plan for them, we can budget for them, and it closes that loop. So no longer is anything stagnant, just a report sitting on a shelf, but we're actually making sure that we're extracting value from this so that we can monitor and measure what we're doing in terms of the interventions that we identified.
Sorry, but on that report, I'm sitting at the office. So how will I know that specific road P what it's a critical road to start on as from April next year?
Well, obviously there's various mechanisms that you can use to do that. It's either you might get a query or a concern or something will arise, there might be an accident and you need to go and investigate and look on that road. We do have a schedule of all the roads that we did, so you can go and you can look through that. Yeah, sorry, minutes?
Yeah, I was thinking as I'm sitting beside that, say for instance, if we can use the correct color coding on the map to indicate the roads which are more critical.
Oh,
and then somebody sitting in the office can see that road.
Before I press on.
That is actually a really, really great idea. We can do that under, we actually have a section here for the interventions. So we can color code, we'll definitely do that. Nice thing is, you make our in-house developers. We just, it's like this, and it will get done. So that's not a problem. We don't have to wait for anybody to do anything. We just say, Renee, guys, please can you do this for us? And it gets done. In terms of our progress, if we can just talk a little bit about our progress, because I love the team that we're working with, and I feel that they have done so well. We set out to do roughly 3,000 kilometers. As you can see, to date, as of March, we have assessed 3,050 kilometers of our allocation. So we met our target, and we have produced 2,010 road safety appraisal reports, from which we then compile the intervention database. We do have some reports sitting at draft status, but those are actually just going through the final review process. What the draft status means is entities submit, our partners submit the report, Theo and his team review them, and then goes back to the partners. They will then make adjustments, and then once again comes back to us. So it's not a single way quality control process. So those are just busy going through that final loop just to be checked off, and then they will be finalized again. Theo, if you can give us an indication, we should be done very soon.
Yeah, I think the plan is to have the review done by the end of this week, and then Hopefully by the end of next week we'll get the feedback from the final reports. Already, for instance, they've already received all their reports with comments. So it's just the ones from Manelu. Some of them we have sent back with comments already, and we received the last batch on Friday and yesterday. So and we're busy with the review of them. So.
Okay.
But all the audits has been done. The draft report has been submitted. It's just a matter of review, sending back to the JV partner to do the final changes, and then we have the final report.
So it's now just crossing our I's and dotting our T's. There we go. Project end date, just to put it into perspective, is only end of March, so we are ahead of schedule, and we'll be able to do our final concluding matters with the department to just discuss holistically all of the interventions. I think that will give us pretty much about 2 weeks just to wrap it up and conclude all of that. If I can please ask my partners, Rian, if you wouldn't mind coming and just talking to us a little bit. Would you like us to, do you want to, so we take a break? No, it's absolutely fine. I just don't want to continue because we want to show you our pilot.
No, that's cool.
Sorry about that.
No, not a problem at all.
While
We just pause, yeah.
It's gone. How are you going to now hand over this program? Is it ever going to be handed over to us?
This is yours. The thing is, this is yours, so you will have access to all of the information in here, all of your background information. You'll have every report that we do. Our report has its own link, so it has its own URL. That will remain yours. The only thing that you have to remember is if the program doesn't continue, obviously this will not grow, because the IP remains with RHDHV, but all of the information remains with the department. So if we continue, we can continue to build on it and to continuously grow the database of information. But the information and everything, the reports, all of the intervention database will be handed over in multiple formats. Obviously, it will be on the online web portal, but it will also be handed over in an Excel database so that you can have access to it in various formats, whichever one you want to use to extract information.
So, Chairperson, just to summarize what you're asking, we walk away today, we discontinue, you're not using us anymore. You will have this link that will give you access to this iReport, which will remain as it is. It will not be updated, but you can access any road segment, all the reports from here, but you will have the hard copies and the electronic copies of all the data, all the photos, all the assessment reports, everything on your server on a hard drive or something. You will have it in any case, but you can use this as a navigating platform forever to work through that. If you get someone else doing the next round of assessment, obviously they will fall back on the manual process if they don't have the capacity or the capability to do this. But this is yours. You have the link, that's all that you have. And then you have all the data in the background, all the reports, hard copies, electronic, all of that.
It's smart on your side, but it's a loss on my side, because now
It doesn't have to be a lot.
if we walk away, I would now maybe my GIS guys to be able to update.
Then don't walk away.
Yeah, no, but obviously it wasn't part of the mandate, so it's not like it was a nice added value, cherry on top, we call it, visuals and everything, but yeah. But I mean, at the time where we actually very poor in anything that's centralized in the department,
And
this
that's
would
what
have
you
been
need.
a nice sort of step in that direction. But yeah.
But Chairperson, yourself and City was worked in our office for quite some time as receiving training. If we could continue with that type of arrangement, we can further capacitate City to do the same for you.
Yeah.
Look, there's always options.
There's options. There's within Sydney's capabilities to do that. We just need to train him up and give him the right tools. And, so it's within Sydney's competency and capability in the department to do it. And that's where our training and mentoring and capacity building comes in.
Yeah.
And what you said earlier, there's a lot of guys that got the training in January. We know, we understand, the department was here. We've gone through a dip in terms of capacity and continuity.
Yeah.
We must build up that capacity again.
Yeah.
And competency, because you cannot live off consultants forever. So we need to build back that competency and capacity that your own guys can do what the team has done. Sydney can do what Eugene has done. Yeah, we need to build up that competency again. You cannot live off consultants forever. You do have the young guys now, they are getting training. We need to take that capacity building process and get them up to that standard so you can do that. And you do have all the tools. Sydney is there. Sydney was a good man. He spent months in our office. Yourself also. We can do that. It's not the end of the road that if our appointment stops here, that this is now lost forever. It can continue.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we continue? What we would like to do now is I would really love to hand over to Rian, and he's going to take you through one of the pilots that we did. And obviously the pilot was done on the 20 hotspots that was provided to us.
If you've never seen delegation before, this has just happened. Thank you very much. If I can just take you maybe just through the auditing process. This particular